podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Okay, I'm back. We're back. Tuned Into Tennis is back. In Paris, Roland Garros, the French Open, whatever you want to call it, couldn't have picked a better time for me to jump back into tennis. The past first week of Roland Garros has been a complete fall-apart mess, and it's kind of reminded me of why I like the sport so much. So I'm ready to get into it. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Myles David. I cover tennis for Serve on Sports Illustrated. I host this podcast and YouTube channel, and I'm your source for all things culture and stories today. Okay? Today, I have so many thoughts. I'm filled with commentary about what is going on at the French Open, and I feel like somebody has to say some of this stuff. Some of the stuff I feel like I've seen people talk about, but I haven't given my 2 cents on, or I haven't seen people look at it from this perspective or something along those lines. So it's time for me to get back in the booth and talk. And I'm sorry for the break. Everybody has to take a break from tennis. If you're a Williams Sisters fan, I think you would know that especially. Life happens. Life happens to me as well. And just like my life, very much, this French Open has been a mess. We've got upsets, we got cramps, we got fashion shows, we have caddy press conferences that kind of turned into war crime hearing and coverage. We have a 19-year-old Brazilian really making waves. Novak Djokovic looking confused and dazed and unmotivated a little bit, if you ask me. And we have an Alexander Zverev situation. And the internet is not really ready for that if that happens, but we're dangerously close. Okay, we're going to talk about it all. I'm telling you, Paris did not come to play this year, except for the people who were supposed to play, like Alcaraz, Draper, Arthur Fils didn't play. Like, there were some people who were supposed to play that I would love to see in this mix, but they're not here. Okay, let's get into the stories of who is here, who has performed well, who has not. Let's lock in and share the facts, the shade, the mess, all of it in tennis. Okay, let's do it. All right, first things first. Let's talk Jannik Sinner. Let me tell you about Jannik Sinner. He walked into Paris as the most in-form player in the world. 20 or 30 consecutive wins, somewhere between that number for sure. He was absolutely dominating the field. He had just completed the career Golden Masters, which means you win every ATP Masters 1000 event in your career. He did that with Rome, which is 2 weeks before the French Open gets underway. All of that momentum behind him. On top of Rome, he won Madrid and Monte Carlo, beat Carlos Alcaraz in the Monte Carlo final. The one thing that's kind of eluded him is this French Open championship at Roland Garros. He was finally supposed to check the box here because that's the one slam that's been eluding him. Instead, he starts cramping in the Paris heat, not even a full 2 hours into his match against Juan Manuel Cerundolo. An unseeded player ranked 56th in the world. Jannik Sinner eventually and essentially kind of taps out because he realizes his body is going into dehydration, to use his own words. And from there, he really didn't have much push-off of any from his legs, and he's a very movement-oriented player as well as power. So he tried to power through it, but those legs were just not there. And it happened so quickly that he was literally up a set in 5-1. 2 sets up in 5-1. In the third set, had his body not betrayed him the way it did, he probably would have been able to fight to live another day. But, credit to Cerundolo. God bless him. He kept every ball in play from that moment onward where he realized Sinner was cramping. Also, kind of segment bar here. The inner conversation about what was able to happen with Jannik Sinner and the 9-minute or so break he left the court for cramps is very interesting to me because it just keeps optically looking like Jannik Sinner is given preferential treatment, to call it what it is, and a little bit of like a soft superstar handling. And I do understand that you're supposed to take care of the superstars in your sport. They bring in money, but it's also not optically good to make it seem like nothing they do is... There's no consequence. There's no pushback. It's kind of just like, we want you to create this record so much so that the chair umpire is going to come back down from her chair and ask you what's going on. And you tell them that you're dehydrated. And the general knowledge is that dehydration and cramp is not necessarily an injury in tennis, although it sucks, although it is painful. I'm not trying to negate that. It's not necessarily a acute injury, as if you were to, God forbid, like sprain your ankle or turn something and you need to see a doctor right then and there to see if you should continue playing. Cramps kind of sometimes can come and go, and that's kind of why it's a gray area as to like what can happen medically to assess. But usually there isn't a 9-minute break off of the court to assess if something is cramps or not. I don't know. It was just odd. Even Jim Courier live on TNT while that match was broadcasting was talking about how much of a baloney situation it was. And it just it stunk a little bit of some favoritism, gotta say. But it also made us learn that, like, Jannik Sinner is penetrable. He is not this, like, yes, he is great at playing tennis, and if he is on his, like, 80% day, he basically beats 100% of the field with his 80% day. But if you get him under 80% and that whether the conditions of the court are hot, we've seen what can happen if you extend it long enough. Even if just by the skin of your teeth, his body may do some cramping and adjustment to the heat, and I just don't think he adjusts well to that. I'm just not sure he's at a position to where, like, that is what I would put as a strength in his position. You know, like back in the day on Top Spin, the Xbox and PlayStation games, they would like put attributes next to some people's physical attributes or speed or like their serve and forehand. If there was like an endurance one, I would put Sinner's pretty low, just because we've seen it happen. I remember U.S. Open 2023 against Alexander Zverev, who we'll talk about in a second. His body started to really cramp on him, and he walked kind of odd in that match, and it was just a plot line that he eventually lost. Holger Rune at the 2025 Australian Open, I think that's where the infamous like handshakes over his towel and his hand were, because he was cramping and couldn't control it. And then this 2026 Australian Open against Elliot Spizzeri, there was a whole ordeal with him cramping, Spizzeri having a lead specifically in the match, and then the court coming to the decision, not the court, but the Australian Open tournament directors decided it was time to cover the court because of the heat rule, and it just had, again, an air of like, let's take care of our good boy. And that's not great, but it has created a lot of mess in the draw because like, he was such an overwhelming favorite that it felt like one of Nadal's years where you really could have just kind of tiptoed into his matches, see how he's doing, and then kind of check in on that final weekend, know he's going to be there, and see how he performs. And we're not getting that from Jannik Sinner this year. So the saga continues, because in 2025, he had multiple match points against Carlos Alcaraz, lost that match, and here we are in 2026, and he has lost in the second round because his body couldn't hold up. So Jannik Sinner, I don't know if it's a crisis yet, but it's something to kind of, you know, there's kryptonite there. Make him stay out there longer, you never know what's going to happen. 2 sets up, 5-1 in the third, man. Come on. All right, let's quickly tap into what's going on the women's side of things, because what's happened over the last first week at Roland Garros is similar to the chaos that Jannik Sinner endured. Number 2 seed and Australian Open champion of this year, Rybakina, is out. She lost in the second round to qualifier Yulia Starobdubtseva, who's ranked 55 in the world. And it's so funny. I think she had a bet with her coach, who's coincidentally her boyfriend or significant other. I forgot what the specifics of the bet were, but I think it is I think if it was like if she made top 100, he would propose to her. Well, she's comfortably there, and she took out Lena Rybakina for the biggest win of her career. The story of that match, besides Star Abduseva coming out to be the winner, was the multiple unforced errors from Lena Rybakina, 70 plus, which is way a lot. That reminds me of like some Venus Williams in her kind of off years errors, which just would let her up the stat sheet. So tough scenes for Rybakina fans, especially considered she had momentum coming into this too. So she's out. I mean, I didn't think she'll go out that way, but I think the conditions in the French Open this year have played a large part into what's going on, because there's been quite a bit of conversation about people bringing their rackets to and fro to get strung, because like in the middle of the day, 1 o'clock Paris time, there's like this extra heat that makes the clay a little bit thinner and the courts play quicker. Therefore, the ball moves through the air quicker because of the heat. And sometimes that can make your ball a little bit harder to control. But Lena Rybakina has done so well this year in controlling the power. Not even like the last 9 to 10 months, she's been pretty good at controlling the massive power she has and like bringing the serve. So that upset, like taking me and my wish for her to kind of be a little bit more dynamic out of it, because that's just what it is. She is a great tennis player. I always say this. But sometimes she kind of just, I don't know. If things aren't going her way, sometimes there's not a real great big deal of awareness of how to rein it back in, and that's how you see 70 plus unforced errors in a 3-set match. So, yeah. Elena Rybakina is out, and then also, so is Coco Gauff, unfortunately. Coco Gauff was the defending champion, and she has gone out in the 3rd round. Unfortunately, no fairy tale title defense for Coco Gauff, no repeat. I think the vibes of Coco's exit feels different to me than other years, and maybe just other losses she's had this year, because given what we know about the draw having so many holes in it now, which is opening up a lot of opportunity, I just felt like it would have been great for her to kind of still be in the mix with that. And I'm not sure if I walk away from her loss feeling like she has a overall problem, because we know there are some areas in her game that can really go sideways on her, but more so, does she have a Potapova, her opponent, who beat her for the 3rd time in a row? Does she have a Potapova problem? Because if you rewind to Rome, the last lead-up she played before she started Roland Garros, she was digging and battling her way through matches, which I felt like ultimately was a good sign. Because if you go through so many matches where you're like on the brink of like losing the match, either saving match points, down a set, having to claw back, and you keep doing that, I feel like that kind of gives you an air of invincibility in a way. Like, I can be out here for as long as I need to be. I'm going to get this win and scrap through it. I like that aspect about Coco Gauff, but something about the dynamics of the ball and the way that Potapova has also been playing lately knocked her off the court that day, which was a little surprising. I gotta say. I mean, I knew Potapova was definitely not a slouch. I mean, she's far from it in the past 2 or 3 months. She has had a great clay court lead up. She got to the final, I believe, of Linz. She also got to the semi of Madrid. She got to the 4th round of Roland Garros. So she's been in and around this clay court season quite a bit, making her name known or more known. So there's Potapova in, Coco Gauff out. Let's see, what else? Okay, also, the perennial Roland Garros princess over the past couple of years, I mean, she's won it 4 times out of the past 5 years, is Miss Iga Swiatek of Poland. She lost out to Marta Kostyuk on what was her 25th birthday for Iga. So that's a tough way to swallow a piece of cake on your birthday. Marta Kostyuk walked on the court and beat her 7-5, 6-1 on her birthday. And that's another chink in the Iga Swiatek armor. I think this is now 2 seasons in a row where she hasn't won Roland Garros. She hasn't even won a clay court tournament leading up to Roland Garros. So I think that puts a dent in the overall aspect of her being like the person to beat on clay. I think that there are some more players that can handle what she brings to the clay courts. And also, I don't think her game, and I think she is admitting to this, is where it needs to be, almost from a mentality standpoint. Some of her press conference clips I've seen after her loss was just that, like, she lost control of the match and couldn't get it back. And, you know, I feel like that is putting into clear verbalization of what it felt like has been happening to her matches, you know? Like, it's not just that her tennis is kind of off that day, but she also doesn't have the mentality to kind of seemingly even know how to right the ship, if that makes any sense. She kind of gets in her own way. And it just kind of, you know, it sticks. It's kind of like a hurdle she can't get over sometimes. But I mean, you know, none of these women are perfect. Like, you can't win them all. And Swiatek has done her share of winning on clay at Roland Garros. So she has a lot of points to defend at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open summer swing coming up. So I hope don't know what's going to happen with that, but best of luck, Swiatek. I mean, the sport is tough. It's just tough. Let's see. Where else should we go? Okay, let's go back to the men for a second. Novak Djokovic is out. He's out of the French Open in the 3rd round to Joao Fonseca, the 19-year-old Brazilian. He did it. Joao Fonseca did by coming back from 2-0 down against Djokovic. And that puts an end to that 24 or 25th major quest, at least at this French Open. The way Fonseca did it in very exclamation point kind of fashion, especially at the end, closing it out with three straight aces, is incredible. And I think that there's 2 sides of the coin, because I think this has been, you can't necessarily, sometimes you can, but sometimes it's hard to like make a career in one match. But I definitely think in one match, a career can have like certain gems that start to build something even more bigger for someone's career. And I feel like for Joao Fonseca, him beating Novak Djokovic, not only at a Grand Slam, but coming back from 2-0 do it, is like one of those gems of him searching for the proverbial tennis. What do you call those stones in Marvel? It is escaping me at this moment. I had this lined up. So, is it the Infinity Stones? Is that what they're called? Like, there's so many. I don't know. You go with me. If you're listening to this, please don't judge me for having this big lapse in nerdom and Marvel awareness. But you get the concept, right? Him beating Novak Djokovic in that fashion at a Grand Slam is definitely going to go a long way in the lore of Joao Fonseca. And if he can even go deeper at this tournament and just continue to make himself a name in tennis, because I think there's a lot of people going for Joao at the moment. I mean, the Brazilians at his matches, I personally love it. They are making the atmosphere there feel so much more lively. And he's made some comments about like how, you know, sometimes that dynamic and kind of pressure the fans build can be tough for him to handle too. But overall, especially as a fan watching and a viewer on television, it looks and feels great. And I think the more of that, the better. There are times where it's good to, you know, kind of respect the code of tennis, if you will. But yeah, it makes it feel like a soccer match. And I haven't watched that much soccer in my life, but now I kind of want to, if I've been missing what Joao Fonseca has been doing, you know? So there's that. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's episode, please take a look at the episode description, support the growth of the show by grabbing a coffee from the link, and while you're at it, be sure to engage with Tuned Into Tennis on social networks. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook is where you can find us. Leave a review if you like what you're listening to so far, and let's get back to the show. And then back to Djokovic really quickly. I'm noticing how he hasn't really looked interested in like the very crucial parts of matches, which is kind of what made him and has made him one of the best tennis players ever, is his ability to kind of lock in, hunker down, not make mistakes in clutch moments. And he just has seemed a little bit more disinterested lately in doing that. And I think that may cost him that 25th slam that he's elusively looking for. I mean, the list of players that he's losing to at slams is just getting a little bit longer now that you add Fonseca, and also he is taking losses at the ATP level. Jack Draper got him in Indian Wells. Who got him in Rome? Oh, Dino Prismic got him in Rome. So, like, he's taking some losses and not playing consistently on the tour. So, at one point, do you kind of, like, as a fan, I'm not a Djokovic fan, like, die hard, put my cap on backwards and go for him, right? No, we know this. At what point do you kind of start feeling like the quest for 25 is more something that's being said than something that's being, like, actively thought is attainable? You know, just, I don't know. I don't think there's anybody on the tour right now who's going to surpass his mark of 24 Grand Slam match wins. Basically, I don't think there's anybody on the tour right now who could surpass winning 24 slams. Obviously, Carlos and Yannick are probably going to get double digits, but you just never know in tennis. Like, getting to double digits is rare air. Getting to 20 and up is very rare air. And I just don't know, just because Yannick and Carlos are really lapping the field for the most part, I don't think that necessarily makes them both candidates for being 20-something plus Grand Slam title holders. You know, it takes a lot of work and longevity and working through injuries, avoiding injuries, all of that stuff. So if Djokovic gets to 25, great, awesome. Like, I think that is going to be something that history reflects well on, I guess, depending on how it plays out. But if he doesn't, like, they're not going to do the Margaret Court thing to him like they did to Serena Williams. They're going to be like, oh, he won 24. And that's just that. He's just the GOAT. Whereas with Serena, they would go, well, she didn't win as many as Margaret Court. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Sorry, I turned it into a Serena moment. Sorry. Serena, girl. I'm going to come back to that. I'm gonna come back to that because sister. Okay, let's go from one sister to the other. Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka continues to be one of the most fascinating watches, storylines, personalities, just spirits in tennis. I don't think we're ever going to see somebody that navigates the world of tennis and sports and fashion and culture and celebrity quite like Naomi Osaka. And I think that is beautiful. I feel like she is, in the platforms that she has, she is doing her best to kind of just be her authentic self. And sometimes that comes with mistakes and things that kind of work out clunky, but who doesn't have mistakes and clunky things in their life, honestly? And she often says she doesn't really like to speak much, so fashion is where she can kind of talk through her feelings, her inspirations, what she's kind of going through or inspired by. You know, like, I think that's awesome that Naomi can do that and also be a really, really great tennis player. So she's made her way into the fourth round of Roland Garros for the first time in her career. She's been wearing this custom black corset, or I think in her opening round match, she wore this custom black corset and cascading kind of really extra layered skirt. And then she unveiled that to kind of show this very glowing gold sequin, shiny Nike outfit that is inspired by the Eiffel Tower. So I love that she kind of keeps having moments where she has to describe what she's wearing and the inspiration behind it, and that people who are, for whatever reason, offended by it have to just keep eating it because they're going to keep talking about it because, one, it's entertaining. Two, she is still a relevant tennis player. She's doing the best that she's ever had, actually, on clay, to be honest. This is, like I said, her first time to the fourth round of Roland Garros. Her clay court results leading in, like, she's doing bit by bit, and I think she may never get to a point of, like, really having clay court and grass court and natural surfaces together all the way together like she has hard court, but I think that's fine, you know? I think she can still do her very best, and it might not be a championship on that surface on that day, but that doesn't mean that she isn't focusing on trying to get better, because she is also interested in how she wants to dress on the tennis court. I think you can do both, and I don't think that people give her enough credit for the nuances that are available in a person's mind and personality. Like, it's okay to be a person who is more insular and doesn't talk much and a little bit more shy or reserved or just I feel like Naomi is very intentional and aware of who she kind of lets in her circle, and sometimes that can come off as shyness, but that's a perfectly fine personality to have. And also, I can be interested in this, and also I can play good tennis. So, like, you're not supposed to be one thing. So people that are always like, oh, how is she, how does she hate attention but still want to do things to draw attention? Well, she's layered. I don't know if you've met many layered people, but they exist. She can absolutely not really want that much attention on herself and love the idea of fashion and what a garment can do. It is not groundbreaking. It is not. I mean, most of you should watch The Devil Wears Prada and The Devil Wears Prada 2, because you can see all of those people are obsessed with fashion and do other things as well. I mean, fashion is like the number one thing, but they do other things as well. It's not just, you have to juggle multiple things in life, in general, okay? Let Naomi juggle. Let Naomi juggle, okay? Let's see. Next up is Miss Sabalenka, who I've put here in my notes that, like, I'm looking at her as a quiet storm, which is so ironic because she's so loud and boisterous and everything when she plays, but she's kind of just been going her way through this French Open, efficiently doing her thing. To be honest, I haven't sat and watched a full Sabalenka match from beginning to end. I have not sat down for one. In some ways, my ears are thanking me because, Sabalenka in a tight match grunting can be a lot sometimes. I've learned how to just kind of go somewhere else with it. It's not a big deal to me at all, but, a break every now and again isn't bad. But from the highlights, I got to say, she's looking like she's playing great tennis. She's covering the court great, serving great. Even her skills at the net and slicing and drop shotting, all of those things are just kind of highlighting her way through to the fourth round. And she hasn't dropped a set, so now with Iga gone, Rybakina gone, Coco gone, those are some of the real Grand Slam ops, if you will, that she's had. And all of those players were favored for the title. They're gone. She's left standing. We'll see what Sabalenka has, I mean, she's been to the final at Roland Garros just last year. She's been in the semifinals prior. Sabalenka, it's on you. I mean, you're the number one seed. You're the top seed left, world number one. Let's see what you got. Let's see if you got the eye of the tiger and can bring home that Roland Garros trophy. Let's see. Let's see. Also one thing I wanted to note on Sabalenka, never mind. I won't say that. I'll save it for later. Okay, let's talk about Frances Tiafoe, because I'm really, really impressed with Frances Tiafoe at the French Open, because at a certain part in my tennis watching career, and not that long ago, honestly, I just didn't have any expectations for Frances Tiafoe in Roland Garros, and I don't think he did, at least, like super high ones either, because for a while there, he struggled to win a match. But now, going deep in a match and going best of five is what he's great at now. I mean, he's gotten to the fourth round for the second consecutive year, winning 2 back-to-back 5-set matches, one over Hubert Hurkacz, and then the end over Jamie Faria. sorry, brother. Maybe Tiafoe wasn't that too familiar with him either, because they had some exchanging of words, and it got a little tense out there. Not like super, like, beat me outside tense, because it's tennis, right? We got to remember that. But I think Jaime Faria was kind of getting a little lippy and was also clearly annoyed that he had dropped the third set and kind of wasn't playing well while Francis Tiafoe was surging it up. And Tiafoe at one point just said to him, "Bro, you're not hard. Like, you're not hard. Just keep playing. Just keep playing." Meanwhile, Tiafoe, let his racket do the rest of the talking. So he's deep into the French Open again. The other guy is back in Portugal or something. And Francis Tiafoe, now because Jannik Sinner's out of that top section, match by match is what I'll say, but he has opportunity here to do some damage at the French Open. I'm not saying that's a final. I'm not saying that's a championship. Would those two things be lovely? Absolutely. I'm just saying that he has opportunity. And it's up to him to kind of step up to the moment if he wants to and play good tennis. I think he can. I think Francis can. I'm just going to put that positivity out there for my guy Francis Tiafoe. Do I want to go from something positive to something negative? I'll quickly touch on this situation with the Ukrainian players, because bottom line, there are two Ukrainian players into the second week of the French Open, Elena Svitolina and Marta Kostyuk. I think they're going to play each other if they both win their matches and go to the quarterfinals, actually. Svitolina won Rome, Kostyuk won Madrid. They both came into Paris on great form, and I think with them playing for something bigger than themselves, if you will, with their home country going through turmoil at the hands of Russian and Belarusian, those two countries, I think that ignites them in a way, which is great to see, but it kind of got a little, not by them, but the whole sentiment of kind of like Ukrainian and Russian tension on tour has kind of come to a little bit of a moment with two other players, Alexandra Alienkova, who represents Ukraine, and then also Daria Schneider, who plays for Russia. There were a exchange of screenshots and receipts and ignorance and whateverism through that whole situation. Basically, the Ukrainian Olienkova, she's quite an interesting personality. She has facial piercing, tattoos, glitter, the whole combination. She has it. But she came to the press conference before her match with Diana Schneider and had literal screenshots pulled up of what Diana had been liking on Instagram and what events she had been attending, also all that were kind of tied into some kind of Russian organization or association that is pouring money into the war. So that's not a good look for her. She brought receipts, kind of made for a tense moment on the match and also like afterwards, because one, they don't shake hands traditionally. The Ukrainian women have not been doing that with women from Russia or Belarus at all. And then two, when Diana got to press after the match, she kind of was just like, I'm not here for any of that. Like, I guess I won't be liking any Instagram stories anymore. So she kind of let her racket do the talking, and I'm not mad at her, because take the war aside, right? Like, just war out of it. If you know your next opponent that was lined up to play you was in a press conference or even just in the country club showing screenshots and past messages and what I'm liking on Instagram and what I'm not to other people to kind of just have like this evidence on me of doing something, don't you think I want to beat you next time we play? War or no war, why are you doing that? That's weird. It's getting a little weird. But I mean, I guess in the factor of war and Olienkova being passionate about it, girl, do what feels intrinsically good to you, I guess. But I would have a problem with it. But Diana didn't, so she just kept it moving. Whatever. Okay, before I get out of here, there's two other things I wanted to touch on. I really, really, really want everyone to stop and give some love to Hailey Baptiste. I think she really deserves it. Hailey Baptiste is from the DMV. She's playing some of the best tennis of her career. She's up inside the top 30 in the world. She was seeded at this Roland Garros for the first time, and unfortunately, some of those really, really positives took a halt when she went down in her second round against Wang Zhiyu. She fell awkwardly. She retired entire mid-match, it looked like an ACL injury. For those who are familiar with those are tough and very, very tough, actually. And unfortunately, her agent confirmed it was some ligament, tearing, and just tough scenes, and a road to recovery that, is going to take a while with those kind of injuries. I mean, ACL, a lot of people come out and say how, like, debilitating moving that part of their body and, like, that knee area was, and the recovery, I'm actually not even going to think about the road to recovery. I just know that Hailey Baptiste is going to get there. She's going to be fine. It sucks, but I think this is hopefully one of those moments where it happens for a reason that we can't all see yet, Like, there's going to be a way where she comes out of this shining and doing well, because her game was doing that, man. Her game is such a shining kind of light in women's tennis. Her personality is nice, and it's just, I can totally see how it would be easy to be friends with her. And to see something like that happen definitely hurts your heart, but it's all going to be for the greater good. I think she's going to work hard, and I think she's going to be on the other side of it as a better tennis player. So fingers crossed for Hailey Baptiste, girl. Fingers crossed. Praying for you and thinking about you for sure. Okay. Where I'm at on time. I kind of went through some of this stuff quickly, but, you got to do what you got to do. All right. Oh, wait. You know what? Before I get out of here, I wanted to talk about how it is hilarious. It is hilarious to me. I don't know how many tweets, threads, social media posts I've seen from people talking about Roland Garros, and not just talking about Roland Garros, but as every men's seed started to drop, they were just like, Alexander Zverev cannot win this tournament. Alexander Zverev cannot lift this tournament. I want to see anyone else but him lift this tournament. Now, I haven't said that, but I've seen countless people joke and write about it. Like anybody in the draw but Alexander Zverev. If you don't know about Alexander Zverev and why people are not fans of his, there's been some DV allegations, credible ones. There's just been some allegations of just a not so pleasant attitude, to say the least. But not to negate any of that, he is the number 2 seed in the draw, and now that Sinner's out, Djokovic out, this is a great opportunity for him to get his first slam, but he has faltered in some big moments to get there. So we'll see what happens with him. I'm not... I think it would be kind of, well, is this mean? Is it mean if I think it would be funny if he got to the final again and something dramatic happens? Like, give us drama. Give us drama. I mean, hell, it's the first day of Pride Month. Give us drama. If Zverev is going to stay in this tournament, let it be dramatic until the very end, okay? Let it be dramatic. Let the whole tournament end dramatically, because it's been dramatic throughout the first week. Let it end dramatically. Okay, I think I am nearing my time. If this is what you guys have enjoyed listening to or seeing, please reach out and let me know. Give this a thumbs up, comment wherever I post this. I am just trying to get back on the horse and get out of my head when it comes to recording longer form tennis media content. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be coming back to do a look ahead for the quarterfinals of Roland Garros, just to kind of keep the train going and figure out who's going to be lifting this title, because this has been a Roland Garros to remember for sure, and I want to make sure we're all tuned in. Starting with me first. I have to tune in and get here in front of this mic. But thank you guys so much for listening. Please feel free to follow and share and subscribe to everything online, digital platforms, social media, all across those at Tuned Into Tennis. My name is Myles David, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.